Saturday, Sigulda in Latvia. We are ready for the final run of the regular season for men's skeleton at the home of Latvian ice sliding, and a huge crowd here to see the European Championships, World Cup number 8, and they hope a win for their hero here, Martin Viesturs. Welcome back to Sigulda, everybody. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me Leslie Stratton. And Leslie, well, the Latvian fans have got plenty to cheer about after the first heat.
They do, and numbers are multiplying here. Just from the first heat to the second heat, there's more people, more excitement, it's louder, and they should be loud. We got Thomas Viesturs in third and Martins in first.
Yeah, Thomas Viesturs, great run into third position. Been a while since he's been on the podium. Sunbin Young of Korea, the bronze medalist here last year, in the silver medal position.
Yeah, he put together a great first run, really challenging for the win here, so it should be really interesting with the tight race here in the second heat.
And he set a track record in his run to come down as then the leader, but just 4 sleds later, another new track record. There were no fewer than 4 new track records in the first heat, and Martin Viesturs is currently the record holder, and he is our leader.
He is, and he put on a clinic in the first heat for everyone watching out there. Great lines, obviously track record, and first place. You can't really ask for much more than that.
And a big advantage as well, 2100s clear of Sunbin Young. Third place, Thomas Viesturs, 3900s back, but look at that, right behind Thomas, Alexander Tretyakov, 100th back. Jung Sung-gui of Korea, Alexander Gassner of Germany, very much within shouting distance of Thomas if he doesn't get his skates on. And further back through our top 20, it's dog eat dog. It's going to be a real battle for positions. We'll see a lot of changes. Outside the 20, in our field of 30 from the first heat, Kim Ji-soo and the rest of them, they're on the sidelines with the fans. We've just spotted Jeff Bauer of Luxembourg in the crowd and a whole bunch of the others. They'll be watching this race with great anticipation. And there's the man that everybody kind of expects to win, including himself, I suppose, because this is where he started, where he and his brother and his dad, Dennis, who's still the track manager, have put together so many comprehensively classy World Cup, World Championship programs over the years. You just saw the warm-up track there, Leslie, and those tall pylons, that's not a viewing gallery up above. Well, it is, but it's also the track, because the track starts 5 stories above ground level.
It does, and it's not for the faint-hearted. If you're up there and you go look over the railing, if you don't like heights, it's not the place for you, for sure. But it's an incredible track. It's very pretty. The ice is perfect. Obviously, the environment's great. You can see that with all the people here, and yeah, it's been wonderful being here. You
just saw limbering up there, one of our new Chinese rookies, Yin Zheng of China, set a brand new start record now. Mark Wood, his development coach, told me, look out for this kid. He sent me a little message last night on WhatsApp saying, the Rocket just drew start draw number 3. And Rocket is right. The track record when we started this morning, the start was a 4:55. It's now 4:49. Final World Cup race of the season. Kevin Boyer of Canada heads off into the unknown in our top 20. Martin Haven, Leslie Stratton from Sweden watching the action.
Yeah, great run for Kevin on the first heat. He just snuck into the second heat by 0.03 of a second, but he'll be looking to build on that in the second heat, and they start off with a great push time.
Well, the 2 Canadian athletes, Kevin Boyer, Kyle Murray, both making it through into the second run here. It's not a track either of them know particularly well. Boyer's raced here once before, was 22nd last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Great top section so far, just a couple hits on some key areas, but nothing crazy.
You hear a lot of scraping and scratching, and predominantly here, that's the chin piece of the helmet dragging down the ice as you tuck your head down.
Yeah, this is true. When you hit pressure, sometimes your feet drag as well, so listen for that. It's either the head or the feet.
Down into the final corner, it's a 270-degree corkscrew turn. The Kreisel at the bottom, 51.44. So he comes across the line just under 2/10 quicker than his first heat. I was talking to the performance director for IBSF, Mickey Grumberger, who's an old skeleton slider as well. He's saying tracks like soap this morning, really skiddy because it's quite moist, but it's not frosting up, so it's very skiddy.
Yeah, definitely has some speed left in it. For Kevin, that was almost 2/10 better than his first heat, and he pushed a bit faster too, so clearly there's still some speed on the start ramp.
And you can see a really glossy sheen on the ice, and that's always a good sign. It means that it's shiny, but it's not frosty. Frost grips the runners, it sticks, your runners stick just like your fingers do in the ice box at home. So the shinier it is, the faster it will run. Kevin Boyer, our race leader. Next up, Kyle Murray, his teammate Kyle, 0.02 of a second ahead of Kevin in the first heat. So we talk about this so often in racing, the race within the race. If you can't beat your own teammate, you're never going to win. First job, beat your own teammate in a nice way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're beating them with kindness for sure.
The only kindness you find on this track.
That's not wrong, but really excited for Kyle. He's never been here before, so really great first heat for him.
Yeah, and this is the first time he's made the cut in this World Cup season as well, so it's a really big deal, especially in a field of 30.
Yeah, for sure. 4:74 start time, which is 0.02 of a second quicker than his first heat, and that should really help him.
And that confidence as well, by, you know, make the cut on a track that you've never raced at before, that really gives you a confidence boost. So hopefully he'll just relax into this and let it flow. He's in the green, which means he's got a lead. It's 1300s, creeping away a little.
Yeah, bigger lead than the first heat, so hopefully that'll help him out here.
Just a fraction less speed than Boyer, a little late there. Now he gets the exit out of corner 14 down this endless straightaway into the big corner 15. Skids there, and that may take the lead away. He's in the red, heading to the line. He's going to be behind his teammate Kevin Boyer, but he still made the cuts. That's where Boyer was running to. He'd left his 70s porn star shades in the shed and needed them to be cool in the leader's box.
I like it, Kevin. Good on you.
Yeah. Kevin and the Style Police are very close friends.
It's not wrong. He always has good swag. Always has good swag. You can always count on that from Kevin.
Yeah, unfortunately, he does look like something out of GTA Vice City, doesn't he?
He does. Perfect description.
Huge height here from Kyle Murray. It's not a track for the faint-hearted, is it? And look, he buries his head as well. He's just going to take what comes.
Yeah, unfortunately, that leg spread, too, isn't very good for aerodynamics. Obviously, that skid is also not good for cutting ice. More friction means more time, and he lost it there at the bottom.
Well, still a big day for him. Made the cut in the top 20. Now, next up is Mattia Gaspari. Big day for him as well. His last World Cup race was in the Pyeongchang race pre-Olympics in 2017. Basically the homologation race for the track. Then the Olympic season, he tore his Achilles a week before the World Cup season started. He's been on the sidelines until November this year, when he started his career again, racing in Europa Cup. Couple of ICC races, enough to make the field here in the final World Cup of the season.
Yeah, he's looking great on his sled, looking great at the start, considering his extensive rehab process that he had to go through for his Achilles. And he should be really excited here, especially to make the cut in his first World Cup back for a really long time.
Yeah, and he was so excited to be back here in the World Cup. And his teammate Manuel Schwerzer with a hamstring tear in training, he didn't make it through into the second heat, but Gaspari in the lead. It wasn't a big lead that he had over Kevin Boyer.
Yeah, this run looks a bit smoother than Kevin, so he's still in the green, and I think that'll be the same thing at the bottom here.
He managed to avoid cursing him there, so you're sharpening up your game. 1700s up, he was 500s up, so he's finding speed here.
Great exit of 15, smoothest we've seen so far.
Can just hear tiny toe drags across the line. He comes 0.3 up, 51.26 compared to 51.49, so 2300s better than his first run. Welcome back to the World Cup, Mattia Gaspari. He might hang out in the leader's box. He might need to borrow those shades of Boyer.
Yeah, you should definitely take them, borrow them, for sure. But huge for Mattia. You have to remember why you start sliding. It's fun, it's great, You love it, and you can tell he's having a really good time.
Yeah. And again, with that Achilles injury, like you say, you know, they take forever to heal for a normal human being. And the athletes, you just put so much punishment through those tendons.
Yeah, and athletes are really bad at being patient, I can attest to, and you want to just get back as quick as possible. And the Achilles is one of the most, the longest of all the rehab processes, so.
Well, now you see the eyes laser focused on the prize, looking at the next turn and willing the sled over there. Mattia is our race leader.
he's having a good day.
Yeah, good day to be back. Next up, Jerry Rice. First World Cup for him since La Plagne in France a month ago. First week on ice since he left us to go home to wife Jenny and their new baby girl, Rhea. So she was born just after Jenny almost had a heart attack watching Jerry slice his chin open in La Plagne with a big hit. Let's see what he's got at the start.
Jerry's always a great starter. You see that with the 4:61 push time. A bit faster than his first heat by 400ths of a second.
Yeah, and every 100th counts. We always say that a 100th at the top is worth 300ths at the bottom. So if you go 400ths quicker, then you're finding around a 1/10 of a second and more maybe on your previous run. Nice, smooth-looking run through the early corners where it's been so skiddy early on.
Yeah, Mattia just threw down a nice run, and Jerry's 0.5 of a second ahead of him, which is really showing how Jerry's run's going too.
And this could see him in the leader's box for a long while, Jerry Rice. I'm sure his wife is watching back at home in the UK. Probably hasn't had much sleep anyway.
Yeah, great exit of 15 there, and nice control of the waves and
Ooh, crunch before the line, 50.85 compared to 51.47, so that is a big improvement. 0.6 of a second, 50.85 would have seen him in 12th place rather than 17th after the first heat, so we may see him pick a few sleds off.
For sure, no better feeling on the second heat as an athlete to keep moving up and seeing your name keep moving up that list. So Jerry should be really stoked with what he just put together.
Well, I'm sure he made sure that there was some deliveries at home for wife Jenny yesterday for Valentine's Day. Some of these crossovers are so sharp, aren't they, on this track? There's almost nowhere else where you see such short crossovers.
Yeah, we say if it feels rough, it actually feels smooth, which is a little backwards, but it's the truth.
Love you all back home.
So there's Daddy Jerry, our race leader after the first 4 sleds. Next up, Austria's Florian Auer. Coach Mickey Grumberger just checking the time for the start. You see the 30-second clock there when the athlete hears the sound that gives them their official start. Then you've got 30 seconds in which you have to break the start beam, which is 5 meters away from the block, and set the clocks running. And you see Guggenberger there moving the sled just so it doesn't get any little stick to the ice.
Yeah, I get a lot of questions about at the start what you're thinking about before you take a run. Obviously, there's 2 things. There's the start and then there's the drive. So you really have to hype yourself up for that initial push and then calm yourself down for the drive. So it's a lot of, heart rate, kind of breathing exercises and things like that.
Remember years ago, Nicky Minicello saying you've got to basically be like this caged tiger at the start, and then after 5 seconds of intense action, you've got to sit down being a Zen Buddhist and just focus and clear your mind and let it all flow.
Yep, exactly, which is twisted because sometimes the top of the track is the most calm part. It's most likely to skid, so it can be a challenge, but Flo's really putting together a nice run here. 2/10 back, but hopefully his speed can carry him here at the bottom.
1:14.9. And Mattia Gaspari was 1:15.6, Jerry Rice was 1:15.1, so Auer's not going to catch him at the line. 2300s back in second place. Jerry Rice is going to stay in the leader's box for at least another couple of minutes. Let's see how much further he can move up the order.
Yeah, you can tell Jerry did put a good run together. Florian did have a couple of mistakes here and there, but overall, he did put some good lines together, so definitely speaks to how good Jerry did on his run.
Well, Florian from Innsbruck in Austria. A nice looking load. He always gets down with his shoulders first and then tuck your hands around the handles and underneath your hips before he settles down.
Yeah, that load is really important. You actually practice it like on dry land, and you know exactly the spot you're supposed to be in, and once you hit it, you just stay as still as possible.
A little bit of Holcomb high five for the fans. Jerry Rice, Florian Auer, Mattia Gaspari. The first 5 sleds down here in the final World Cup of the season, the European Championships in Sigulda. Second heat of the men's skeleton race here in Sigulda, Latvia. Martin Haven and Swedish skeleton slider Leslie Stratton watching the action. Austin Florian of the USA at the line, and he will be calling tomorrow's women's race from the announce booth here trackside in Latvia. Let's see what he's going to have to deal with. Current leader is Jerry Rice of Great Britain.
Yeah, the Austin Florian hour really like to confuse us here, going back to back.
They're always side by side somewhere.
Come on, guys.
Even when they don't get drawn together in the start list, they end up together.
This is true. Yeah, so far so good. Unfortunately, a little hit there going into curve 4. I know he'll want that back.
Yeah, that's pretty standard. Almost nobody avoids that, do they?
No, yeah, and it's a sneaky hit. It kind of sneaks up on you there last minute, and it's equally frustrating as the bigger ones.
Out of corner 10, 11 to 12, tricky crossover. We've seen so many sliders having problems there, and 13, late exit there as well.
Yeah, a little loose here on the second heat.
Yeah, this is one that should have stayed in training. So Austin Florian didn't race here last year, came for the Junior Worlds in 2017, crashed out in the first heat, so he doesn't have great memories of the track here, and that's not going to help very much. 51.82, that's one that he will want to tear up and throw away as soon as he can, but you've got to, here is the School of Hard Knocks. You've got to put in the ice time, like every other track, to learn how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Austin's had some really good success in Altenburg, so I know going into World Championships in the next couple of weeks, he'll be looking to build off this result and kind of take it in the other direction.
Yeah, his World Cup best result, 9th place in Altenburg last season, and that's where we go, as you say, for the World Championships, starting with women and men's bobsleigh next weekend. You guys get a week of rest before skeleton in the second weekend, and maybe some of those bruises that everybody's earning this weekend will have faded away by then.
Yeah, that week's a nice gift. Thanks IBSF for the bruise healing time.
Yeah, bruise recovery. So Jerry Rice is still our leader, 6 sleds into the field of 20. Next up, Vladislav Heraskavich from the Ukraine started sliding on this track, and he said after learning to slide in this place, nowhere holds any fear. Straight off the top in places like Whistler without looking back. If you learn to slide here, yeah, School of Hard Knocks is definitely part of your portfolio. Let's see what he's got. First start, 4:76.
Ties his first heat start time with the 4:76 as well, and that's going to keep him in the green going into the upper corners.
Yeah, 2400s over Jerry Rice from the first heat. He is still in the lead. It is in single digits, and that slower start now catches up with him, and he's just behind.
Yeah, a lot of experience here for Vlad, so hopefully that'll help him here at the bottom with that track knowledge and letting his body take over.
Yeah, watch how much he holds his form. Heels together, looking for that aerodynamic line. You want to look to the air like a fish does to the water if you can.
Yeah, him and I actually have similar color suits. Sometimes people think I'm him, which is a huge compliment based on his form. So, yeah, we were joking we should get matching speed suits next year.
I got to say, you haven't got the shoulders.
I don't.
I'm just saying.
I'll work on that.
Yeah. All right, across the line, 51.26. That puts him into second place, but Jerry Rice's second run was a smoker. So Vlad, 51.26, just 300ths of a second slower than his first heat.
Yeah, big speed from Vlad, though. Second fastest speed we've had so far with the 1:15.3. He was outpushed by 1500ths of a second and was 1700ths of a second back at the bottom. So unfortunately, there were some areas of problems, and he didn't make up for them there.
Yeah, early hit into 4 sent him deep into the corner, and then here, late exit. You saw the face bounce off the ice, or the chin at least.
Yeah, he did point it straight here towards the bottom, which is a huge win, especially coming out of that tricky curve 15.
So Jerry Rice the leader, Vladislav Heraskavich in second, Florian Auer of Austria in third position. As we get to Flo's teammates, this is the youngest uncle in the field, 20-year-old Sammy Meyer. His brother Benny is here racing bobsled, and his sister-in-law Elizabeth Meyer back home in Innsbruck with Nanny Rita and baby Hendrix watching the action. So let's see what Sammy Meyer has got here. Again, a tiny bit more of an advantage over Jerry Rice from the first heat.
Yeah, Sammy's really coming along as an athlete. I remember meeting him a couple years ago on EC, and his pushes massively improved. His driving's improved a ton, and it's been really fun to watch him on World Cup this year.
Finds another 500s in the start compared to his first heat. Again, that's worth 1500s at the bottom if he can carry that speed. And he's in the lead at turn 4, so he's staying in front of Jerry Rice now. Can he keep the speed up?
Yeah, great entrance of 4, best we've seen so far, and he's really threading some good lines together here.
And you've got to react after your first run to how the ice is compared to training. It always tends to be very different on race day, usually quicker. And as you say, the track crew here have done a great job with the ice.
Yeah, they have 1100ths of a second up right now coming out of curve 15. Little two double tap there going into Kreisel, but I think with his speed, he should be able to keep this lead here and stay in the green. Ooh, whoa. Just kidding, Jerry. Moving up the pile.
100th of a second slower than Vladislav Heraskavich, 51.27 to Vlad's 51.26, but Jerry Rice with a 50.85 run is picking them off. And this is what we always see in the field. Outside the top 4 or 5, it's just so tight.
Yeah, you kind of put names in a cup and throw them on the table at this point. We saw this with Bobsleigh last night too, which makes for a really exciting second heat.
And it's been the same all the way through the season. This is not unique to this track. It happens at every track. Outside the top 4 or 5, it's anybody's bet who's going to be the risers and the fallers. And Sammy Meyer, just a couple of little errors creeping in, just enough to deny him the lead. He's in second, 800s behind the grinning Jerry Rice. So next up is one of our 2 World Cup rookies this weekend from China. And this is Azahatsi Hayasea, otherwise known as Tommy, apparently because he's been learning English or perfecting his English by watching Peaky Blinders, the BBC series. So 4.69 getaway. You saw Mark Wood shouting him off at the top. And he was just a few hundreds out of a top 10 finish.
Yeah, for his first World Cup, you really can't ask for anything more than that. 300ths of a second slower on the start, but he's 2/10 up going into these tricky corners at the bottom.
Well, Woody wanted to give a shout out to Pat and Kenny, who are part of the development team that have put in a busy year in Shanghai this year and last, finding and developing these athletes.
A little high on the entrance of 13 there, but he controlled it really well at the exit.
And a magnet there, drawing him into the wall from 14 down to 15, and that again into 16 as drawing all the speed out of the sled. He was the leader at the midway point, and he drops half a dozen spots, but he has made his World Cup mark. He made the cut in his first ever start in a field of 30. That was a very, very big day for him. Now, he'll be disappointed to lose places with that second run, but he'll look back, and Woody will just, you know, really reinforce that. You made the field, you were better than halfway up, the best sliders in the world.
Yeah, really awesome debut for him. A lot of good things to build on this run. He kind of got away from him at the bottom, but the top looked great, and you could tell that he knew what he was doing, where he was going, just a matter of time before he climbed to the top of the pile.
And again, he's never raced here before, he's never been to the country before. He's only done about 8 official IBSF races in North America's Cup and 1 Europa Cup weekend. Well, next up is a man who's got a little more experience of this track. Last year's race winner here. It remains Nikita Tregibov of Russia's only World Cup race win as we get to the end of the second season since that victory. But the Olympic medalist, not his normal speed at the start. He should be right in there with the very fastest of them. He's just not got the speed, and as a result, nothing's quite clicking for him this year.
Yeah, a little bit faster on the start ramp in the second heat compared to the 471 on the first heat and the 469 in this heat, so hopefully it'll help him here.
I can remember back in Sochi in the World Cup race in 2017, Alexander Chechikov saying, these young kids, pointing at Chegibov, he said, you know, the start that they've got, we're in trouble. But Chechikov is still in there swinging with the fastest starts, and Chegibov is just off the pace this year.
Yeah, I think he's getting better with age. I said that on the first heat, but it's incredible to see the athleticism.
Well, Chegibov needs a good summer off with his wife and baby, and then hopefully come back stronger next year in the build-up to the Beijing Games. He's still in the lead over Jerry Rice. How close is this going to be? Not very close at all. He'll be way in front. Yes, 7/10, 50.76 run. That's a little better than his 50.86 of the first heat. And that would have left him in the top 10 in 10th rather than 11th. That's not going to move him up closer to the medals, not much closer anyway.
Yeah, shout out to Jerry for staying in the leader's box for that long. He had an incredible second run. And fastest speed so far that we just saw from the Russian with a 116 kilometers per hour.
Well, he's got a proper Marco Apicella racer's haircut, but it hasn't found him the speed, I'm afraid. And again, on a track that he knows as well as any other on the planet, just not finding the pace. So our race leader, 10 down, 10 to go, Nikita Tregibov of Russia, from Jerry Rice of Great Britain and Sami Meyer of Austria in third place. It's a big party atmosphere here in Sigulda in Latvia, and in between the end of this race and the women's bob race at 4:30 local time this afternoon, we're going to have a medals ceremony. First of all for the skeleton, and secondly for the Sochi Olympic Games, because the bobsleigh hero here, Oskars Melbardis, will receive nearly 8 years later, 6 years later, his bronze medal that he has now been awarded for the two-man and the four-man gold Olympic medal. They'll be presented by IOC member and IBSF president Ivo Ferriani, and the whole team will be here. And in fact, Melbardis will be back racing on Sunday in the European Championships as well. He and his key brakeman, Dalmas Dreskins, both had major back surgery a couple of years ago. They've been out of the World Cup. They have been racing in Europa Cup, so they can't make their World Cup start here, but they are eligible to compete in the European Championships on Sunday. So it's going to be very interesting to see where Oskars Melbardis stacks up in this field. But that's part of the reason this big crowd is here, because they're going to see an Olympic champion crowned 6 years after it could have happened.
Yeah, and to do this in your home country as well, obviously being Latvian in front of this crowd, which it literally keeps multiplying every time they show. There's twice as many people, which is really awesome, and it's going to be a really great day here at the track. Yeah,
they're putting on a good show here. They've got a band playing in at the lunchtime break. There's lots of food stalls, coffee stands all the way down the track as well, and lots and lots of fans coming here. Prices are very, very affordable. There's yesterday's race winner. Well, that's Viesturs Sergeva. I'm not sure of the name of the dog, but that is your women's bobsleigh winner from yesterday, your new European champion and Russia's first. Sigulda, Latvia, the final World Cup race of the men's skeleton season. Final 10 sleds before we head to the World Championships. And Germany's Felix Kaisinger, the newly crowned junior world champion, in 10th place, taking on Nikita Tregibov of Russia, our current leader. Martin Haven, and alongside me, Leslie Stratton, watching the action.
4:56 start, which is 100th faster than his first heat, which I'm sure he'll be really happy with, and he's in the green going into curve 4.
And actually, that's not bad starting. 6th fastest start in the first heat. He's normally in amongst the top 2 or 3, but he has got a bit of a groin strain after training on Thursday, so he's thinking about the World Championships and trying not to aggravate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a big couple weeks coming up here afterwards, and I know Felix at the start, he's very fun to watch, and then he's really good at relaxing on the way down, and he almost has a 2/10 lead, so you can tell this is working for him.
It's been a good season for him so far. He's got a silver medal and 2 bronze medals out of the 7 races in the World Cup so far this year, and across the line he comes 2/10 up, 50.58. Wow, that would have left him 300ths out of 4th place in the first heat.
Okay, Felix.
This is the Felix we've come to know. Tense, not great in the first heat, goes darn it, and just throws one down in the second heat. And again, once he's got a little more experience of the World Cup and racing against these big names under his belt, and he gets rid of that first run tension, if he ever puts 2 smokers together, then he's going to be top step of the podium.
Yeah, watch out for when that happens. I remember last year he actually had a groove pop at the beginning. Actually didn't cross the red line, ran back, took it off, and still had a great result in his first World Cup race. So clearly that poise is coming, and yeah, I'm excited to see what he does.
He always looks like he's had 12 espressos at the beginning of the first heat. So, okay, Felix Kaisinger, that was a big run. Now then, what can Yevgeny Rukoshwev of Russia produce? Yevgeny started only 16th fastest, drove himself into 9th place. It's not the first 50 meters where he excels, but boy, this kid can drive ice. Rukoshwev, one of their young new sliders. Still competing in the Junior Worlds. He was 6th last week in the Junior Worlds. He's the Junior European champion. Started 4:75. That's a little slower than his first getaway.
Yeah, it is. Second best Russian in this in the first heat, which he should be really excited about, and that should give him a lot of motivation coming into the second heat.
This is only his 10th World Cup, so he's done about half the races in the last 2 seasons, picking and choosing where to gain track experience.
Yeah, he's looking really relaxed in this upper section. Little skid going into curve 12, which hopefully he'll be okay coming out of 13 here on the exit.
Well, he was 200s ahead of Felix Kaisinger from the first heat. He's 3,500s back. Part of that, he's not having such a good second run. Part of that, Kaisinger just blew him apart in the second run.
Yeah, I was gonna say, true, like Kaisinger form.
Yeah.
Moving up. There's
so 51.10 for Yevgeny Rukhashchev. He drops a couple of spots behind Nikita Tregibov, so he will be the 3rd of the 3 Russians. Tregibov probably won't be that bothered, to be honest. He hasn't hit form this year, and whether or not Rukhashchev is a few hundreds in front or a few hundreds back doesn't make his form any better or worse.
Yeah, a little bit of a rough load there with that toe drag, unfortunately, which it was a bit slower than the first heat. So
kind of over-rotated a little, didn't he? Just. Yeah.
That rib punch with the saddle.
You're going to feel that tomorrow morning trying to get out of bed. Yeah.
And it'll be a surprise, too. It'll be great.
Yeah. So again, you can see working overtime with the feet, really tap dancing his way all the way through the corner, and to no avail. The exit a little late for Yevgeny Rukhashchev. So Felix Kaisinger is the leader with 8 to go, and here was the big sensation from the first heat. Yin Sheng of China set a new start record. He lowered it from 4.55 seconds to 4.49 seconds.
Yeah, that was really exciting to see. Obviously, love a little good underdog story just because this is his first World Cup. We'll see what he puts together here.
Oh my goodness, 4:47. You heard Woody at the top shouting, push, push, like he was going to do anything else.
Oh my gosh. Incredible, incredible. He's having a good day.
I mean, honestly, if he can start like that, it almost doesn't matter whether he can slide or not yet, because every coach says, give me a starter and I'll turn them into a slider. And look at the way he's handling the speed as well. He's got speed at the start that no one else has experience of.
Yep, 100%. You can see that it took him a bit to calm down there at the top, but only 200ths of a second back here at the bottom.
This is unbelievable. He was in 8th place after the first heat. Where is he going to finish? Is he going to be ahead of Kaisinger? Big pressures. He's going to be behind at the line by a fraction, drops a couple of spots. But a 51.04 is still a smoking run. And no wonder Mark Wood and his assistant there look so happy. That is a huge, huge debut for Yin Sheng of China.
Yeah, I mean, this push, I don't know what else to say. It was incredible. Great load. You can compare it to some of the other ones. Very smooth, very linear. Staring into that curve 1. 13, I'm sorry, yeah, we're in 13. I'm sorry, 15. A little bit of an troubles here on the exit, but he pulled it off really well, minimized the damage. A little bit of a skid and a flop, but still managed to keep it within striking distance at the bottom.
Well, now, can you imagine what he'd do on a track like Innsbruck?
Yeah.
Holy moly. Well, there is Yin Sheng. Woody sent me a message last night, said the rocket drew start number 3. I think we may have a new rocket on our hands. But our race leader is still Germany's Felix Kaisinger. Marcus Wyatt comes to the line with a 1/10 of a second advantage over him, which means that Marcus needs to up his game because Kaisinger produced a massive second run, quicker than Marcus's first.
Yeah, everyone seems to be dialing it in here on the second heat, so we'll see what Marcus can do here on the start ramp and on the way down.
All right, so first start, 4:59, 4:56. Every 100th is vital. If you're 100th in front, it's as good as a second in front. You're still in front.
Yeah, 100ths are really big in the sport of skeleton and bobsled. And he's having a really great upper portion of the track. Hopefully that speed will translate at the bottom with the 700ths of a second lead.
So Marcus Wyatt still in the green, but just 700ths in it. He can't creep away from Felix Kaisinger.
Nice entrance into curve 13, controls it really well at the exit, and a nice exit as well of curve 14 going into big curve 15 here at the bottom.
300ths of a second, 1:15.3.
A little skid there.
Oh, and he's in the red. Has he got enough speed at the final corner? Dives out, got to keep it clean at the line. No, huge speed drop, 50.99 run, 0.3 back.
Man, Kaisi with his celebrations, I love them.
Yeah.
Every single race they get better and more exciting.
And Marek's the coach giving the long look at that time at the line. Where did all that speed go away? Marcus Wyatt wants to know the same.
Yeah, he did thread together some great sections there, but made some key mistakes in some key areas, unfortunately, and it dumped a bit of his speed.
Well, here's a long skid. The runners get sideways. They're not square-edged like an ice skate. They're rounded and highly polished. Tiny contact patch, but it still causes friction, and so do all those hits on the wall. That's like putting on the brakes.
Yeah, you try not to drop your toes in straightaways to try to minimize that damage. Unfortunately, you had to do that a couple times.
So Marcus Wyatt drops a couple of spots. Felix Kaisinger still leads with 6 to go. We're not going to see another medal here out of Kaisinger, are we? Where was he? 10th? Yeah, we might. Honestly, here the gaps are too big. We probably won't, but Felix is still our leader. And his teammate Alexander Gassner, the 2 Germans in the field this weekend. No Axel Jung, he's back home in Altenburg training up for the Worlds.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a German leader after this one with the German in the track and the German at the bottom.
4:69 start, and that means Gassner has got a 500th of a lead as he lays down, but he started slower than Kaisinger, so it goes red before he gets to corner 7.
He did a little bit rougher of a top than Kaisi had. We'll see how that translates here at the bottom.
Kaisinger is going to have another Felix Kaisinger second heat, isn't he? Gassner's dropping behind, and Gassner is going to lose ground to Nikita Tregebov, who is in Kaisinger's slipstream, creeping up the order, and to Marcus Wyatt, who's in 3rd at the moment. Gassner is going to drop behind both of them, all 3 of them.
Yeah, some great lines here at the bottom. Just unfortunately, I don't think he has enough speed to hold it.
Oh, 2nd place at the line, so he called it back in the final corner. There's a smile from Dirk Matchens there. That was a certifiable smile. There was teeth and everything.
It was a very proper smile.
Yeah, very good. All right, so Alexander Gassner loses a spot, but he may not lose much because there's no guarantee maybe that the next couple of sleds will stay in front. Gassner was in a battle, though, with Jung Sung-Gui and Alexander Tretyakov and Thomas Ducours for the medals. And look at that, you see all the legwork and all the footwork. I mean, it's a busy track, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very busy. It's actually really cool that his shoes are orange. Much easier to see the steers as compared to the white shoes that a lot of athletes wear.
Oh, he's just sort of picking his hip up there to try and get away from the wall. Bing, just under the camera. You see the little shards of ice fly up.
Yeah, I always joke you get good at hitting walls. You learn the little tricks.
5 to go. This is Jung Sung-Gui of China. And our leader is currently Felix Kaisinger from Alexander Gassner and Nikita Tregebov. Katsuhiro Koshi, the former Japanese slider, now coaching the Koreans with the sled for Jung Sung-Gui as we get to the final 5 sleds before the World Championships. This is the battle for bronze. It is Kaisinger versus Jung versus Tretyakov and Thomas Ducours, and Jung out of the runners, out of the spur.
Yeah, unfortunately that's going to translate into time and velocity, and he actually didn't push it much slower than his first heat, but yeah, unfortunately that's gonna kind of snowball the entire way down.
Yeah, it follows you all the way down. If you lose the speed early on, it's like missing a gear shift in a drag race. You're always behind. And now he's fighting it. It's not got the speed that he's expecting. It's not holding the lines that he wants. And in his head, he's probably cursing loudly and fluently in Korean. Across the line, head down, and that's the way it's going to be. 51.47, a disaster at the start for Jung Sung-Gui.
Yeah, it's the first group hop we've seen today. Unfortunately, happens in some of the top 5 here on the second heat. He's going to want that one back for sure.
Right, he's 7th with 4 sleds to go, so guaranteed to be at least 11th place. His 2 best results, a pair of 9th places in his previous 6 World Cup starts. He has definitely got a lot of potential, but that was a long way out of the grooves. It didn't drop in either into the second groove with the runner.
Yeah, he tried to save it the best he could to get it back there, but unfortunately the damage was done on that load when it popped out. So unfortunately you have to think about that the entire way down, which is the worst punishment that you can have. So yeah, he's going to want that one back for sure.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of sympathy in that changing room. Everybody knows what that feels like, I'm sure. Okay, so here we go. 4 to go for the medals, for the European Championships, and for the World Cup title. Alexander Tretyakov, last year's World Cup champion. It was his 2nd Crystal Globe of his career. And Alexander Tretyakov needs win number 18 of his career in World Cup number 113 if he's to take the Crystal Globe and the European Championship.
Yeah, ties his first heat start time on the second heat with the 4:53, and that'll really help him and set him up well. He's a great driver.
And none of our contenders started as fast as him. He was definitely in the slipstream of Yun of China, but he was quicker than the 3 guys who follow him down, but he's a long way back, 4/10 off gold.
Yeah, he's got 2700s in the bank going into these bottom corners. He's still in the green. Little hit going into curve 13, but he controls it really well in the exit.
He needs a massive run here, a really massive run. This needs to be close to track record, and it's not going to be. Very late exit out of 15. And he'll lead Felix Kaisinger at the line. No, he doesn't! Kaisinger is 1 away from a medal.
Oh my gosh. The celebrations, so lovely, so awesome. Huge day for Felix.
Okay, Felix Kaisinger. He's going to start deliberately tossing away the first heat just for the excitement of the leaders box in the second heat. And Alexander Tretyakov, I'm afraid it is not win number 4 of the season for him here today. He's in 2nd, Alexander Gassner in 3rd. But it is Felix Kaisinger who leads with 3 to go. And Leslie here, little hit into 4 was the first of his problems.
It was, yeah, that'll kill your speed a little bit. And then it seemed to just get away here at the bottom. It's uncharacteristic of him taking that hit into curve 13. Unfortunately, it also happened out of that runner drop out of 14, and then a little bit of a messy exit of 15 as well.
Yeah, real scorpion here off corner 15. And that's really rare to see. You know, that's winding the clock back 20 years on Alexander Tretyakov, a run that gets that wild. So 3 to go. Latvians, hold your breath. You have 2 men in the top 3. Thomas Dukurs in 3rd place after the first heat. 3900s off the leader, 1800s off Silva.
Yeah, the fans are loud here. This is so exciting, going in the top 3 with your hometown hero. 4:66 start time, which is 100th better than his first heat.
Right, 1600s in hand for the man who has more trips down this track probably than anybody in history. 1100s is the lead over Felix Kaisinger.
Yeah, he's building, and if you want to learn how to slide Sigulda, take notes right now, because you're about to, yeah, he's building, he's putting on a show.
Here we go, 93.5 kilometers an hour. That's the fastest speed we've seen so far.
And he's making it look easy, so smooth. 3300s going into curve 15.
And this is for a medal for Thomas Dukurs. Won his only ever World Cup race here in Sigulda. Is he going to be on the top step of the podium? At the moment, he pushes Felix Kaisinger out of the leaders box, guarantees himself a medal. A 50.36, that is equal to the 2nd fastest run of the weekend so far. And to remind you, the track record this morning before the race began from last year's winner Nikita Tregibov was a 50.81. It is currently 50.15.
Yeah, this is awesome. Take it in. You love it when the local person does well on their home track. It's really exciting. And he just put together a great slide.
Now I'm cursing myself because I didn't look back to see when the last family 1-2 was in a World Cup race. It hasn't happened for a couple of seasons.
Yeah, look at that bulletproof form, picture perfect, coming out of 14 into that long straightaway, and 1:16.6 speed, which is the fastest speed we've seen by far in the second heat.
And in slow motion here, you see how the sled tries to skid one way, tries to skid the other, and just the subtle movement of the hips. He knows what it's going to do before it even thinks about it. He's got it under control. 2 to go. This is Sunbin Young, bronze medalist here last year behind Martin Stukors and winner Nikita Tregebov. Can the Olympic champion do anything here to break the Latvian domination?
Yeah, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be this guy. From the start ramp all the way down, 4:54 start, which is 0.02 of a second better than the first heat.
Well, that gives him another 1200s in the bank over Thomas Stukors. The lead as he lies down is 3/10. He avoids the hit going into 4, building that advantage.
Yeah, he's looking really relaxed up top and really taking these lines well.
Well, this is the Marvel superheroes battle. This is Iron Man throwing down the gauntlet for Superman who follows him.
Yeah, a little drift there coming out of 11, but he handled it really well coming into curve 14.
Great run from Sunbin Young, but the gap's down to 1700s from 3600s. What's he got in speed? 1:13. Stukors had 1:16. He's behind. Thomas Stukors will be the leader. We are going to have a Latvian winner.
Woo!
But which of the brothers will it be?
Oh my God.
Oh my God is right. And Sunbin Young, ahead of Felix Kaisinger, guarantees himself at least a bronze medal. Thomas Stukors will take at least a silver, and now I'm really cursing myself for not looking to see when the last family 1-2 was.
Yeah, he put down a good fight against the Stukors brothers in this final heat. Unfortunately, came up short at the bottom, but Latvians fans, take it in.
Yeah.
This is awesome. It's a great atmosphere right now.
I'm saying right now, the last, in the only tie for the European Championships, Samarit 2016, Martins and Thomas Stukors tied to the 100th for gold and the European Championship.
Look at that.
Come on, we'll go again. So Thomas Stukors will be at least silver. And our World Cup leader looking for his 11th consecutive European Championship title, looking for his 10th Crystal Globe, and looking for career win number 53.
Those stats are incredible, mind-blowing, so awesome. You're watching one of the best right now take a run in his home track. 4:52 start time, 0.04 of a second better than his first heat. You can tell he wants it, and the whole brother versus brother, that'll fire you up. Let's go.
But, you know, they work together. It's almost like they're identical twins. They work together like two halves of one symbiotic organism. They're just astonishing.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why they're so good is they have each other to play off of, talk lines, talk runners, talk equipment, all that good stuff.
And look at this lead, 6900ths of a second. This is a new track record coming up for Martin Stukors. Absolutely perfect. Who makes this track hard to slide? How can everybody not do this? Can you not see the lines? Martin Stukors is going to be the European champion, the World Cup champion, and a 49.94 new track record. That is absolutely as insane as Yin's start record. Martin Stukors finally wins a World Cup race at home. And it's a family 1-2. Brother Thomas takes the silver medal, the European silver. Bronze for Sunbin Young, but the European bronze medal for that young man in the yellow jacket, Felix Kaisinger.
And that is 11 in a row for Martin Stukors.
Answers on a postcard. Has anybody won as many European championships in any sport, never mind consecutively?
Unreal. You just watched one of the best do some of the best work you've ever seen on the Sigulda track. Actually, the best work since he hit a track record on that run.
Well, and that's why he's been known as Superman in this sport for the last decade, because he just keeps giving. That is World Cup win. I missed my count. That is World Cup alone, by the way, win number 54. Martin Stukors, A big start. It was the second fastest of the competition, so the fastest of all the contenders. And just two crushing track records. Leslie, again, he's the video game robot that nobody can beat, isn't he?
He is, yeah. If you see a form break anytime with Martin, you're like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. You never see it. You didn't see it today. It's true as form. And I'm sure he didn't see the fans on the way down, but those noises, he's got to carry you the entire way, and he showed that today.
Well, he's won 3 of the last 4 World Cup outings. His first major win here in Sigulda. Brother Thomas in silver, Sunbin Young, the bronze medalist, a second back in third. That's how shattering Martins Ducour's pace has been here. Felix Kaisinger gets the European bronze, finishes in 4th, but of course, Korea not eligible for European Championship medals. What a finish to the race. That's 2 for 2. The women's race last night was stunning, and today equally. Wow. So, Leslie Stratton, that kind of raises the bar for the women's skeleton race a fraction, doesn't it? We need to see a track record broken by 3/4 of a second.
Yeah, we'll just follow that up tomorrow. It's no big deal, it's fine.
You know, the only times those happen are when you go to tracks that you haven't been to for a decade and the athletes have moved on and the kit has moved on and all of that. Not when we were here last year with all the same contenders.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. And the longer you get in your career, the harder it is to put those personal bests together, and as long as Martin's been sliding, that's incredible. Huge speed, huge start, huge track record. Awesome day for him and his brother as well.
Yeah. And World Cup race number 124 in his career, 54 wins, and he's got 24 other podium finishes.
Yeah, casually.
Yeah, he's got more than twice as many wins as he has silvers and bronzes added together.
Yeah.
You know, nobody does that. Normally, the other medals comfortably outnumber the actual wins.
Yeah, we were actually talking before this heated. If a whole country did that, it would be great. So for one person to do it, it's next level.
Well, in terms of men's skeleton champion medals in the European Championships, in 26 European Championship battles, Latvia now has 12 gold medals. Martins has 11 on his own. Thomas has 1, where they tied in St. Moritz. The next closest nation is Germany with 9 gold.
Yeah, and you can tell, obviously, Germany and Latvia, very popular sliding countries, and that's shown with the success and vice versa, back and forth.
Well, and you know, part of Latvia's success is this track here in Sigulda. Opened in 1986, it was built during the Soviet era. It was designed by a team from Leipzig, built by the constructors of the Sarajevo Olympic track, and having this facility allows them to excel. Sigulda, Latvia, the party is just beginning, and with good reason, because our World Cup winner is Martins Ducours. For the 10th time in his astonishing career, he wins the Crystal Globe from Alexander Chechikov and Sunbin Young career. And Felix Kaisinger vaults up the order this year into 4th place in the overall standings. A sensational season for him. Those are the rest of the finishers in the World Cup this year. Leslie Stratton, Martins Ducours, did what he just fell short of last year, came here and utterly crushed the opposition.
He did, yeah. It was like he took last year and was like, I see you, let's mic drop this year, and he dropped the mic today on his in the home crowd.
From some height.
He did.
Well, last year was the beginning of the season. It was the first race of the World Cup, and he'd had an injury-free summer, and he'd had to train differently. He was not at his best. This year, it's the last race of the season, and he has been getting consistently better and better. He wins here by a crushing 8/10 over his brother, the next closest contender in the European Championships, the bronze medalist Felix Kaisinger, in 3rd, ahead of Alexander Chechikov, ahead of Alex Gassner and Nikita Tregibov. So those are the European Championship finishers, and there is your overall podium. Sunbin Young, a career in the bronze medal position, of course not eligible for the European Championship medals. And silver medal for Thomas Ducours, gold for Martins. Well, now both brothers have won on this track in World Cup racing, almost bookending their careers. And it's win number 54 in the World Cup for our 11-time European champion. Oh, what a fantastic way to round out the regular season for men's skeleton. My thanks to Leslie Stratton for being with us and giving us her words of wisdom. We can watch her race tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, we will be joining the women's, the two-man bobsleigh rather, this afternoon. First sleds will be on ice at 4:30 local, which is 2:30 GMT. Join us then. Until then, from Sigulda in Latvia, it's goodbye.
Woo!